On board as well, Bob Weiner, Robert Weiner, if you will, Democratic strategist, columnist, and former communications director for Clinton Drug Czar General Barry McCaffrey. He's also former chief of staff of the House Committee on Aging, and also the former communications director for both Congressman Rangel and Conyers of New York and Michigan, respectively. Bob, good to have you back as well.
Good to be with you, Alan. And speaking of Amy's 100 examples, how about among the 100 worst examples of campaigning ever, Rick Santorum, in campaigning in Puerto Rico saying, don't speak your language.
Bob Weiner, how do you see it working out?
I don't disagree with it, but you don't mean that it's not severable. I think you mean, Amy, that they will say it is severable. That's just what I was going to say, was that I think that they will rule, and I'm a rare Democrat to concede that the court may, and I don't think it's on the merits particularly as political proclivities going in. As Cuccinelli said at the National Press Club, they walk in with a world of political framework that they've been appointed under. But I think by 5-4, they kill the mandate, but they keep the provisions because you've got kids' colonoscopies and conditions. In that lovely alliteration I heard about a half hour ago on the radio.
But Bob, surely you would agree.
Already underway for millions of people. But that's great, but that's all talk, no action by them. They all said, "Oh, we'll do." Well, they've had 50 years; they've never done.
The General Welfare Clause is not in and of itself another justification for Congress to just essentially disconnect itself or release itself from every other constitutional restraint otherwise meant to stop government overreach. Where am I off base, Bob Weiner?
Well, you had the same batch of arguments, all the identical ones. You go to the transcript from the congressional record on Social Security, Medicare, Civil Rights Act in terms of overreach by the government. But if you have a different batch of justices, you have a different 5-4 vote. The reality is we have the ones we have, and I will settle for severability and the condition and the pre-existing conditions. The fact that colonoscopies are covered and mammograms for preventive care, that kids stay on the plans, that there's 2.5 million kids, that seniors get their drugs covered now.
Bob Weiner, how do you see it?
Well, what's being missed here is that 99.8% of people, as Attorney General Martha Coakley of Massachusetts pointed out at the National Press Club debate on this, 99.8% of people use the healthcare system because everybody's born in a hospital except for midwives, which is 0.2% of people. So everybody uses this commerce system. Most people at near end of life use the system. So it is interstate commerce, and that is a basis on which it is absurd to say that it's not, because everybody pays for that. That is the commerce that is involved there. So you can make the case that it is a national and international, well, not international, but national commerce system.
You then have precedent to force American people to buy whatever else the government thinks it should.
That piece of it, most of those hospitals are national companies that own the hospitals. They're not single-owner hospitals.
They have a right to be a judge in their own trial.
Here's what
Something
I think the court
Mowbray versus
do.
Madison actually thwarted. What's that?
The court may say that the mandate is an overreach. They, I believe, will not say that the provisions of the bill are an overreach. As I said at the beginning, I believe that's where the court may come down.
Constitutional law trumps legislative law each and every time. Everybody knows that.
You have so many conflicting constitutional provisions that argue with each other that you can make the case from either side, and hence the court.